I am the Taller Halfling, and this is episode 3 of my solo campaign in the Deepfall Breach, Dragonbane. First, some comments regarding the last session. I invented a house rule to calculate hit points based on the average of the main stat and constitution of the heroes. However, on second thought, I don't like this house rule, so now I will abandon it, which is bad for our heroes because they will get all of them less hit points. Snappy, the halfling thief, will have. Snappy has 6 hit points. He ended last session with 10. Valorum, the human fighter, will have constitution 14 hit points. He ended last session with 15. And last but not least, Brine, who turns out to be the hero for now of the whole company, will have only 4 hit points. She ended last session with 6. Yes, they will be much harder to survive. This was how the game was invented, so I want to use the rules as written on hard mode because I am rolling 3d6 down the line. Okay, one more thing. I never used their special abilities. One of the Brine and Snappy's abilities is hard to catch, which gives boon on each evading combat or dodge action for just 3 willpower, and they have the willpower to spend. So I think I will use this more often to survive. And so, let's begin. In our last session, our heroes, Snappy, Veloron and Brine, went through the magical darkness, fought some more goblins, and at the end, after the darkness, they found a secret entrance in the chart tomb. One of the sarcophagi had a secret entrance and a trap. Snappy managed to disarm the trap successfully. We continue from there. Our heroes ended the last session in the dungeon in the chart tomb next to the secret entrance. So they didn't have any chance to heal their conditions. Snappy is scared, Veloron is angry, and Brine is angry as well. So they will have Banes on intelligence and Snappy on will checks. Also, Snappy has concussion, Bane on int for 5 days, and I'm sure they both have bleeding nose, which is Bane on awareness skills. And additionally, they have Snappy has a Bane on intelligence and awareness, so Snappy will have double Bane on awareness checks. Quite bad. Our 3 adventurers are about to enter the newly found secret entrance, which is below one of the sarcophagi. Snappy says, "Let me go first. I'll use sneaking and investigate. First I'll check if Brine's torch should be rekindled. On a 1 in 6, Brine's torch gets extinguished because a stretch of time has passed. No, she keeps the torch. Brine's torch illuminates the secret entrance and the steps that lead below it. Snappy, sneaking, goes into the illuminated steps of the secret entrance. Roll for sneak. Snappy goes as stealthily as possible into the secret entrance and finds an ancient tomb. 2. Environment and danger. Environment. Luminescent spores. And danger. A demon for danger. This cannot be good. Toxic fumes. As stealthily as possible, Snappy descends the stairs. They lead to something of a chamber. that looks like an ancient tomb. In the darkness, he sees some luminescence, like the luminescence of some fungus or their spores. But the air smells poisonous. Snappy begins to cough. To determine the size of the chamber, of the tomb, which Snappy just entered, I will use the Dungeon Master's Guide random dungeon generation tables of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons by Gary Gygax. The chamber is a rectangular chamber 20 by 30 feet with one door on the far end. An ancient tomb, it seems. There are several sarcophagi. There are 2 sarcophagi in this chamber, in both corners, in the diagonal corners of it. Snappy, seeing that the air is glowing with strange luminescent spores, suddenly begins to cough. He says to himself, "No, this air seems not very good to be breathing, because it is poisonous." To determine the type of the poison, of the toxicity of the fungi, I will roll 1-2 is lethal, 3-4 is paralyzing, and 5-6 is sleeping. It's a lethal poison. Let's say these poisonous fumes are with potency of 9. To take the limited effect, he has to succeed on a post roll against 9 with his constitution, which is very bad because he has only 6 constitution. Snappy, coughing, succeeds at his roll. The poison doesn't affect him. He still takes the limited effect. Snappy, coughing, goes back quickly at the stairs, back to Velorum and Brine. I found another room, another tomb. It seems full with those glowing spores, glowing fungi. But the air is pretty bad there. Rolling to see how the poison affects him. Snappy takes 4 points of damage. This is very bad. I don't know how we can go past this room without dying. I feel exhausted. I feel very bad. I'm almost dead. We cannot go through this room without some precautions. Maybe if we cover our mouths with some watered cloth, we can pass. Snappy, Brina and Velorum cover their mouth with some wet cloth so that they don't breathe the poisonous fungi. They go to the door on the end of the chamber. Snappy tries to open it. Without a problem, Snappy opens the door. All of them go through the door quickly and close it behind so that they don't have to breathe the poisonous spores. Behind the door lies there is a rotting stench, and all of them hear some skittering sounds. A scowling scream is heard as well. As they go through the luminescent room with their mouths and noses covered with wet cloth, Snappy, Brine and Veloron quickly go to the door the opposite way of the room and close it behind them. What they see next, or rather what they hear next, comes out of the nightmares. Several meters after the door, there is a plunging shaft going to their left. From the bottom of this shaft, they hear some strange skittering noises and a blood-curdling yell. They hear a scowling scream from the bottom of the shaft. Snappy says, I don't like this, guys. Be very quiet. I think at the bottom of this plunging shaft there are our cultists. Or someone is getting tortured. Valoran says, yes, definitely someone is getting tortured or probably sacrificed. We must be very silent here. Snappy says, okay, that's the plan. Brine, give me your rope. Tie it on the hook on the wall behind you. There is some rusty hook. Obviously, some other people are using it to descend this plunging shaft. So let's tie the rope there. I will descend it as stealthily as possible. So Brine ties the rope on the hook and Snappy, as stealthily as possible, descends the shaft using the rope. There is a glimmering glow as of torches at the bottom of the shaft. The light is enough so that Snappy can see. He finds some shadows to hide. What he finds, he hasn't seen in his darkest nightmares. A fiendish altar at the end of the room. In the yellow glow of the torches on the walls, Snappy sees a chamber, 30 feet by 30 feet chamber, without exit. As he descends down the slope using the rope, Snappy suddenly sees a small chamber, 30 feet by 30 feet, and Snappy realizes where the skittering sound comes. In the far end of the room, he sees an altar, a humanoid form lying on the altar, and above him, hanging a shadowy form. Snappy is as stealthy as possible, but he barely manages to not cry out of horror. He realizes that the shadow form looks like a giant spider. It moves its mandibles and ugly pointy black legs, spinning some webs around the humanoid form on the altar. Beside that, there is nobody else in the room. Snappy suppresses his horror. He still hides in the shadows in the far corner where the plunging shaft ends. He holds tight the rope and the spider doesn't seem to notice him. Quickly but carefully, he climbs using the rope back to Valoran and Brine and tells them what he saw. So, in this horrible chamber below, there is a shadowy creature, a demonic, shadowy spider. It seems that he has a victim. He has a victim on an altar. Probably this is the orc Gorum, which we shall save. However, the spider is spinning some webs around him. I'm not sure how could we save Gorum if he is not dead already. There is no sign of the cultists. Probably they were scared from the spider as well, or probably they left Gorum to rot and to be tortured and finally eaten by this horrible creature. Valoran says, that is dire news indeed. If Gorum is in the hands of a giant spider, I've heard very bad things about these creatures. We cannot just fight it with swords and axes. We are in great danger, and Gorum, if he's still alive, is in great danger. Snappy says, yes, I agree, Valoran. Those spiders are very afraid of bright light. Unfortunately, torches wouldn't help here. In order to chase off this spider, somehow we need light as bright as the sun. Unfortunately, I don't see how this can happen with our torches. Brine says. So we have several options, I think. First, we can go, of course, cowardly back, abandoning Gorum to certain death and to be food for this monster. Second, we can attack the monster, which could as well mean certain death. Those giant spiders are probably poisonous and hard to kill. And third, we can try and wait for this spider either to go away so that we can free Gorm, or somehow lure it outside of its lair. Snappy, did you see where this spider could have come? Is it from the top, or is it from where we just now stand? From this plunging shaft? Snappy says, no, I doubt that he came from the plunging shaft. First, he has to pass through the poisonous air of the last room, but it is poisonous probably for the spider as well. And second, I didn't see any webs for now. The only way I can imagine is that this spider came from a hole somewhere from the ceiling. The chamber was barely lit by several torches, probably left by the cultists, but I didn't see any ceiling actually of the chamber. So I think this is a very deep chamber without a ceiling or with a very high ceiling, and the spider came from there somewhere. Probably there is some entrance above. However, I don't see how we can find this entrance. We have to think of a way, says Brine. We cannot just fight it, and we cannot go back. We have to think there must be a way. There is always a way. We have just to find it. Control. Cursed device. Snappy says, now that you mention, I think I saw some kind of lever close to the opposite wall of the altar. Probably this lever is designed by the cultists to open the gate for the spider, so that it can descend into this chamber, into this cursed chamber over the altar, where they sacrifice victims to this creature. Probably this is some kind of a ritual designed by the cultists. If someone can reach this lever, if we activate it, the lever will close the exit of the spider, or maybe it will open it. Maybe it will activate some sort of a signal for the spider. These creatures, the giant spiders, I've heard that they are quite intelligent. So maybe by this lever, the cultists control it. Who knows? Well, says Brine, we can only try. Snappy says, of course. It will be hard. I'll try to go as stealthily as possible again and pull the lever. Veleron says, what if something goes wrong? What if the spider spots you? Snappy says, well then, I don't have any better idea. Do you, Veleron? Veleron says, we can try something else. If this fails, you run back to us on the rope. We still have our cloth around our noses and mouth. So we go back to the poisonous room, where we lure the spider and close the door behind it. Probably it will get poisoned. Brine says, that sounds like a neat idea. Okay, that's the plan. Snappy, go as stealthily as possible, pull the lever and see what happens. If that fails, run quick for your life and we go back into the poisonous room in the hope of trapping this monster there so that it can suffocate. I have a better plan. Veleron, you wait near the secret entrance. I will wait near the door. And you, Snappy, you try your best to lure out this monster. If this succeeds, we will trap the monster in the poisonous room. Veleron will close the door of the secret entrance, the lid of the sarcophagus, and I will close the door of the chamber. Snappy says, well, that's a plan. So Snappy again descends the plunging shaft by the rope leading to the fiendish altar, trying to be as stealthy as possible. The spider is still there. By the faint light of the still glowing torches, he sees that the spider still spins some webs around the body of the form lying on the altar. He seems unconscious. The spider doesn't seem to notice Cleany, while he stealthily moves to the lever. The skittering sounds of the monster's creature are still heard as he weaves his webs around the victim, around his future foot. Strengthen. Transformed. Conflict. He looks up, but sees nothing. There is just darkness. When he pulls the lever, the darkness doesn't change, so nothing opens above. However, infiltrate flooded weapon. Suddenly, water starts pouring from above, going down the chamber. The spider looks up, still not noticing Snappy, and his skittering sounds increase as if it gets irritated. Water comes down, pouring over the walls. The spider starts climbing up on his web and disappears in the darkness above. But the water comes from all sides, on all walls, down all four walls of the chamber, flooding quickly the floor. Hey, Brine, hey, Velorum, come quick! We have to free Gorum or whoever is on the altar before the whole chamber is flooded. Quick! The giant spider has woven its webs. To free Gorum, our brave heroes have to cut through 4 webs, and they have not much time. They have 2d4 turns to free him. 3. 7 turns. The water comes pouring down quite quickly. Velorum and Brine come quickly as well, as fast as they can. They descend, climbing down the rope. They go, all of them, and start cutting through the webs. In order to cut one thread of the web, they have to do 9 damage with a single roll. I say, since these are non-moving targets, that they have advantage on all their attack rolls. First is Velorum. With his axe, he swings at one of the webs, and he has a double damage. 11 points of damage. One of the web thread is cut. 3 more remaining. They have 7 rounds to do this. This is the 7th. Snappy, with his dagger, succeeds, dealing only 7 damage. Unfortunately, the threat is not affected. Brine with her hand axe successfully, dealing 11 points of damage. Another threat is cut. Another round. 6 more rounds to do it. Velorum succeeds with dealing exactly 9 damage to the threat. 1 more threat. Snappy with his dagger. A critical hit with the dragon, dealing double damage. 6, 7, unsuccessful. Brine with her dagger. Succeeds for... Come on, Brine. Free Gorum. The water level is rising, and Brine succeeds with exactly 9 points, freeing Gorum from the webs. The figure on the altar, which they freed, looks like an orc. After Brine cuts the last strand, the last thread of the spider web, the orc opens his eyes, looks around. What happens? What happens? Where is this monster? What happens? No! He jumps on his feet. Are you the cultists who tried to kill me by sacrificing me to this monstrous spider? Who are you? Quick, say. Snappy says, of course not. We came here to free you. Are you perchance Gorum? The orc says, yes, indeed I'm Gorum. And who are you? Ingolfer sent us to free Gorum, an orc. So if this is you, we must go quick before we drown here, or before that abysmal creature returns and eats us all. Ingolfer, you say? Brine says, yes, we are here on the behest of Ingolfer Stonegaze. We sacrificed a lot, we almost died. So let's not tarry here longer. Let's go before we drown. So they go. First is Snappy, going up the rope. Then is Gorum. Then is Brine. And at the rear guard comes Velorum. So they managed to climb the plunging shaft. Wait here. Before we continue, probably you know, says Snappy, that the next chamber behind this door is full of poisonous spores. So we have to cover our mouth and our noses. Gorum says, I see. No, I was unconsciousness when they brought me to this altar. I'm not even sure how they put me there. Probably from above. This chamber with the altar doesn't seem to have any ceiling. In fact, it's only darkness. In fact, from that darkness came the terrifying spider. It bit me and I fell unconscious. However, I feel better now, says Snappy. All of you, take some cloth, moisten it, because we are all wet now, and let's go through the chamber with the poisonous fungi. So they quickly go through the chamber. They go to the secret entrance without encountering anything. They climb up the sarcophagus with the secret stairs, and then they go to the exit. On a 1d6 there is a random encounter. So they reach the magical darkness. Gorum says, what is this magic? A magical darkness, I can't see anything. Snappy says, yes, we must be very quick. It's not very long, it's like probably 20 feet or something, like several meters. So they go through the magical darkness as quick as possible, touching the right wall, Snappy leading the way. And they reach the vault of many paths. Gorum says, ah yes, now I remember this place. This is where they caught me. This is where the cultists jumped on me. I went to explore the other corridors, and suddenly those cultists, several of them jumped on me. I fought back. I even killed one or two, but they succeeded to capture me. Let's go before we encounter something else. And suddenly they hear voices behind. Wait! Wait! You ruined our altar! Gorum says, you will pay with your lives. Quick, Snappy, give me some weapons. Or Velorum, if you have some spare weapons to give me. I want to kill these cultists. 7 cultists appear behind, from one of the corridors to their right. No, says Snappy. There are too many, and we are wounded, and you are wounded. Gorum, let's flee. Let's flee. I doubt the cultists will follow us outside. Here, there is the exit. So, do they manage to flee? Our characters, let's see how far away they are. 80 feet. Let's say the cultists are here, and our adventurers are here, at the exit. To escape without a shot, I will rule that they have to roll their slowest members' speed as hit die, which is 6, against the cultist speed, which is D10. If our characters succeed, the cultists couldn't do a single strike against them. Yes. So Snappy, Velorum, Gorum, and Brine manage to escape. The cultists don't follow them outside of the Vault of Many Paths, but they are angry, shouting, if you come again here, you won't escape with your lives. We will sacrifice you to Aileo Arnat, or maybe To something even worse, says the leader cultists, as our party of adventurers exit the Vault of Many Paths. In 1 hour, they manage to safely go back and reach the Lost Chapel, where they meet Ingolfur Storgaze. He greets them, sees Gorum. Ingolfur says, "You look fine, Gorum. You look fine. Snappy, Brine, and Valorum, thank you. You successfully completed your mission of saving Gorum. We need him. He has vital information of the cultists." Gorum says, yes, but let's rest tonight. We'll discuss this tomorrow. This concludes our first mission, the Captive Orc. The mission is successful, so let's see how our adventurers advance. Oh, by the way, I forgot. Valorum had a critical hit when trying to free Gorum, which counts as a check for his access. Snappy has had a critical hit with his dagger, and I don't think Brine had any critical hit, so she doesn't check anything. Also, after this adventure, I will reward them with more checks of the successfully completed mission according to the Dragonbane rules of advancement. Our adventurers have: did you participate in the game session? Yes. Explore a new location? Yes. Defeat one or more dangerous adversaries? Well, in episode 2 they defeated some goblins. Did they overcome an obstacle without using force? Yes, they managed to flood the chamber with the altar where the spider lair was, so the spider fled the water. And did you give into your weakness? I don't think so. So they have 4 more skills to check. Let's check them. So Snappy, I think he will check his sneaking. Let's say spot hidden. Let's say evade, and I'll say Snappy doesn't have any strength skills, so it will be good if he learns to use axes, for example, or probably hammers. However, I won't allow it because he didn't use them. He used just his knives. I won't check any of his axes or strength-based weapons, because it just doesn't feel fair. If he wants to learn a new weapon, he has to use it at least one combat, the entire combat. So evade, sneaking, spot hidden, and one more. Let's say acrobatics. Brine, she has a check in access. She has already a check in spot hidden. Let's say she have myths and legends, evade, and healing. One more, crafting. Valorum the Fearless. He will have swords, evade, I'll say hunting and fishing, and acrobatics. Let's see if they indeed succeed to advance in their skills. First, Valorum. Acrobatics. He has to roll 13 or more. 15. Plus 1 in acrobatics. 13 acrobatics. Evade. 13 or more. 12. No race. Hunting and fishing. No race. Access. Oh! Access goes to 14, which is quite good. And swords. No race. For the next adventure, I'll clear their checks. And also, since they're in a safe location to rest, let's say during the night, they clear all of their conditions and heal all of their hit points. In Valorum's case, he didn't lose any. Snappy, on the other hand, clears all his conditions, gains all his 6 hit points. He barely survived after this poison. And he checks for advancement. Acrobatics. 11, no race. Evade, no race. Sneaking, no race. Spot hidden, no race. Knives, no race. Snappy doesn't. advance in any skill. Also, he has one less day of the concussion condition and one less day in the broken nose condition, and Valorum he doesn't have already broken nose. So Valorum has no additional conditions, and Snappy has concussion for 4 days, which gives him Bane on intelligence and a broken nose for 1 day. And Brine, who didn't lose any hit points this time, she doesn't raise her crafting, evade, doesn't raise her evade. What's happening with these skills? Healing. Oh, she raises healing by 1. Good. Healing is at 11 now. Spot hidden. 11 or more. Oh, spot hidden. 1 more. That's great. And access. No raise. So at least Brine and Valorum raised some of their skills, but not Snappy. And that's it for now. Next time we'll continue our conversation with Ingolfor and Gorun. See you later. Have fun.